Hey everybody. I got some type of food illness. I've been very sick for 24 hours, but my voice just came back, so it's going to be rough and ready. I will not be showing my face because I look like death. And no, I was not partying. I was. Uh, Hang on a sec. Sorry about this. I gotta figure out where this is. There you go. All right, back in business. I'm gonna pull out still like at least top of the 40 top insights, and I did warn you it'd be very rough from this event. And this conference is like no other. I watch a lot of crypto conferences. This is phenomenal in every way, and they had so many releases. I'm just going to capture the top 40, so I'm not here all day. I'll be talking about some breakthroughs, some mergers and acquisitions, and how they're building the true finance chain, which was always the vision for Solana. The asset managers that are coming on board, the financial players, the top banks, a ton of Jupiter news, a really cool Steelman argument, ETH versus Sol. That was probably one of the most impressive things. Mert and Toly have a fireside chat, and a ton more. Let's jump in. And thank you to everybody here in the audience. Of course, this doesn't matter. Let's talk about one of the big things that I think was most important to me. I try and distill the information in my little head and turn it into big stories. The first big one I got out of this is Solana is the financial institution blockchain, not ETH. You ask anybody, they'll say, oh, Solana is just for meme coins. And no, that's not true. So let me try and summarize some of the stuff. I think Mert shared a couple of things as well. Two of the world's top 20 banks and two of the world's top 20 asset managers announced plans to build on Solana. Citibank, in addition, has been researching Solana deeply and will launch something in the coming months. We're not sure what that is. You got Société Generale announced the first bank like stablecoin on Solana, which is euro denominated, and they will bring other products into Solana soon. You got Templeton announced they are building a new mutual fund coming to Solana. Then you have a securitization announcement with Wormhole. You know, this is all about real world assets and the tokenization of everything. We'll talk more about that too. And that will also apparently supporting the issuer for BlackRock's BUIDL money fund, which again, the ETH folks are very excited about BUIDL, but now they're opening the crack to Solana too. Also, PayPal, Visa, Circle, Hamilton Lane, so much more. This is pretty bonkers, as we say here on the channel. Johnny, thank you for coming. In Singapore, people in Singapore here live. So let's talk about one of the key things to, you know, this is kind of, I view this as it was considered by many to be the meme blockchain, but no, it's not. It is now becoming the enterprise blockchain. And one of the key factors for this is what they call permissioned tokens. And these are tokens that have restrictions which can hold, transfer, or interact with them. And this is very useful for regulatory compliance, privacy, enterprise and business corporate specific rules. And this permissionless network, Solana, is decentralized and open. However, it does have all the things that institutions need to be compliant. So Solana is looking to work with a lot of and collaborate with a lot of large institutions, which is very, very big. And also they have the ability now as well to support very complex functionality with these token extensions, advanced features that can support very complex business processes and regulatory needs across all of financial services. Also very secure and scalable. And as you know, and as I've been saying for a long time, in financial services, finality and transaction speed is absolutely key, especially if you're running things like funds and stock exchanges and stuff like that. In addition, we had some other breaking news I hinted at the beginning. $1.3 trillion asset manager FTI, which is Franklin Templeton, will launch a mutual fund on Solana. Big news. We also had a little bit of a surprise. The head of Visa Crypto said Ethereum is not cost effective, especially for transactions under $100. And a lot of the world, that's where the bulk of transactions are. Not everybody's moving around $10,000 or $1,000. The majority of transactions are small little transfers and small payments under $100. And basically, the head of Visa Crypto says ETH does not work for this. Solana does. But not just that. Then PayPal came in and said Ethereum is not the best solution for payments. Point blank. Boom. And now they want to do a lot more and handle a lot more transactions per second, which is only possible with Solana. OPOS. Haven't said that in a while. Also, Arcium plans hyper-encrypted internet. A lot of deep concerns out there in the world about hackers and privacy and security. And this one, Arcium HQ, plans to build a global supercomputer that will enable the secure processing of encrypted data for confidential applications and collaborative AI models built on Solana as well, which is interesting. So let's get into kind of the second part. This was a cool session between two guys, and I'll introduce them in a second. It was Avichal and Santiago. And these guys, Avichal is kind of like a pro-ETH person, and Santiago is a pro-Sol person. And I thought it was kind of interesting, especially the way they approach things. So first of all, there was Avichal, who is the pro-ETH guy. He's, I think he's a co-founder and managing director of Electric Capital, which is really good dev reports, by the way, on crypto. We use that in our crypto compendium as well. But, basically he said Ethereum has the most developers. Ethereum sometimes has 500,000 to 1 million daily active users. And Ethereum also has the JP Morgan hard fork. So JP Morgan, again, talking about financial services, they've actually built their own version of Ethereum. I know people go, oh, JP Morgan. But anyway, on the Santiago side, his structure of saying the strengths of Solana were quite a different approach to the Avichal approach. And excuse the formatting of this. I didn't have help today. But he talked about the shared state machine, and it's a killer use case for all things, especially to transact and finance. He spoke about excess supply for block space. Where do folks enjoy the most? Solana. So there's plenty of block space right now because we don't have a billion users using blockchains. But where do most people go? And the answer is Solana. Also, he mentioned something. Everybody's always, fudding Solana about the trilemma. And Santiago said something very interesting. He said decentralization, the trilemma is binary. For example, how much decentralization do you need? How much security do you need? But the most important thing he said for a blockchain is you need base levels of decentralization, base levels of high levels of security, and of course throughput is key, i.e. speed and cost. He also talked about Lindy for developers building hundreds of L2s or the future-proof L1, which is kind of interesting. That basically means there's been a lot of developers building for a long time on Ethereum because it's been around an awful lot longer. But now they're building L2s, but L2s have their own problems. They're not decentralized, and they're not scalable, and there's no finality and things like that. Also, it was another interesting point was the first mover is always overrated. For example, Solana is not the first player in the space, but is now the leader in things like DPIN. And he said having good wallets is core to adoption. And if you've used MetaMask, you know exactly how painful that is. And compare that to Phantom, different story. But this is the really interesting part that came up next. This is when they asked Avichal to Steelman why Ethereum is not good. And this blew me away because he was very direct and very honest. And I found this probably the most interesting thing that I heard yesterday. He said the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, is busted. It's a patchwork of hacks. Monad is now building a new chain to fix it. L2s are not the solution to atomic composability, i.e. centralized databases. And sharding is anti-future-proof and not scalable. And he said the developers, it's not the quantity of developers that matter, but the quality of developers. And I found that very interesting too, because I remember working with I knew a guy who was a top engineer at Cisco way back in the day, more than 20 years ago. And he said there's never more than 10 elite developers on the planet at any one time. That may be different now with AI and everything else, but that always stuck in my mind. So it's not how many you have, it's how good they are. And he spoke about how, this is the ETH guy saying as well, there are 3 million Rust developers on the planet, and that's a big slope to use. And he said Visa and Stripe are choosing Sol, not ETH, which is also a big ding. And he said more memes, more stablecoins, more transactions are very good for the chain. And Ethereum doesn't have that right now. And Santiago pointed out problems that liveliness issues. He hopes that there will be more client diversity. And one of the problems as well, sandwich attacks and front-running attacks are a danger to names like BlackRock, which they don't like it. But they're solving that. These are all solvable things. So I thought that was interesting, ETH versus Sol piece. The next piece that was kind of interesting, and these are kind of the most prioritized as far as I'm concerned, which would be the most interesting for me and hopefully for you too. This was Toly versus Mert, two friends of the channel. One of the questions Mert asked is, how come you're still working? You know, you've done it. And he said he wants to build a science fiction world computer, and his motivation is to leave a legacy and build something very special. They also spoke a bit about the new mobile phone that's launching. We'll talk more about that in a second. The Firedancer team achieved 1 million TPS on a network of only 100 nodes, 100 little machines, generics hardware, which is incredible. And, you know, Toly wants Solana to be the single giant global state machine moving at the speed of light, which he believes will disrupt finance by providing better pricing and atomic permissionless transactions. And the other cool thing was, he says, once the Firedancer is more adopted to about 33% of the network, he will drop the beta tag from Solana as well on both clients. And in the future, he wants to be kind of like chief engineer role within Solana's design. And he encourages people to build weird stuff. Come and build. Huge amount of emphasis there, especially with all the developers at this event as well. And yeah, a lot of really cool things. So that was kind of interesting to listen to how humble and direct Toly is. Also, Firedancer, the biggest news, and we've been waiting for this for a long time. Firedancer is live on TestNet, running at 1 million TPS. Kevin Bowers, or Keith Bowers, talked about kind of the roadmap, what they've been through, and how Frankendancer, which is a early version of Firedancer, is now live, and it's hitting 1 million transactions per second on only 100 nodes. So we don't have enough crypto users to support this, but it's huge news. And Mert chimed in, and he said he's not sure people have understood today. Frankendancer did not just run a benchmark on a single machine and got 50,000 TPS, but they ran 100 commodity machines, generic hardware, globally distributed at 1 million TPS, not co-located all over the planet, and not even full Firedancer. There's more to come, and he said that is freaking insane. Few realize this, and that's why he was so excited, but there's so much more coming too. The point of this is we now have a global state machine that can handle the needs of the planet if this comes to fruition. There's still a couple of potholes with Firedancer, but Frankendancer is live as a validator right now. And another view of this, not one but two validator clients. Bowers did say it's hard to build one, harder to build two, but after that it becomes easier as well. But now they have two. Frankendancer has launched the introduction of Agave, another validator client built by a separate development team from firm Anza on Solana's mainnet in August. So now there's Firedancer and Agave, which is really impressive. And Go Blackson, thank you for coming as well. So this is really real. It's really happening. And there are many solutions out there to help this thing scale like no other blockchain on the planet, which is super impressive. So let's get into a little bit of Jupiter news. You know, I'm a big fan of Jupiter. After seeing all the Jupiter news as well, I feel like I don't have enough Jupiter. Anyway, they have what they call the most comprehensive platform for spot trading, perp trading, and launchpad for launching things. Also the most integrated network across the entire ecosystem, which is super impressive. They have done $300 billion in volume in a very short window of time. They've generated $300 million in revenue, and 30 DEXs are integrated in this one platform. And they've done 100 billion in perp volume. I'm guilty for part of that. 600 million in perp liquidity. That's why I use it, because I get the liquidity I need. And there's 3 trading pairs as well. So they have some new stuff that'll be very good to traders like myself. They have the first dynamic slippage out there, which will have 95% swap success rate and real-time slippage estimation instead of sometimes when you trade, you don't actually know exactly what you're going to get or how much slippage you're going to get. Now we'll be able to see exactly what we're getting. Also, limit orders on perps. This is so important to me. We can place a kind of a stop loss or a limit exit, but not a limit order to enter a trade. This is coming next month, and that's going to be super exciting for us as well. So you can just, when the market makers try and ding a market, you can just drop your limit order down. You can catch it. You don't have to you can do this while you sleep. You don't have to be watching the market all the time, which is cool. And gasless transactions on perps, parity with centralized exchanges. Woohoo! So the fees will no longer be what they are. They're going to make it up in volume, which is great. It'll be a lot cheaper too. Hopefully they can reduce the impermanent loss side as well a little bit over time. Also, I always say the world is mobile. Everything is moving to mobile. And Jupiter is moving to mobile, and that'll bring millions on board to Solana, the fastest way to the next 100 million users. And speaking of mobile as well, Toly plans on disrupting iOS and Android businesses, and he talks about the 3,000 basis points industry. This is from Ansem as well. Shout out to Sanjay for sharing. When you look at what iOS, they take 30% of transactions, subscription payments, etc., 30% surcharge, and that is just criminally high. And he's trying to disrupt that to something a lot more reasonable, like fractions of pennies. That's called the Apple tax, and also going after the Android business too. I think they charge about 20% instead of 30% for Apple. Also, Jupiter's coming out with a one-tap swap, the best swapping experience anywhere. I do some swapping on Phantom, some on Radium, some on Jupiter. Jupiter hasn't been perfect, but it looks like they're going to get a lot better too with the best price possible. So like Jupiter is really doing so much, it's kind of mind-blowing. And they're coming out with a thing called Ape Pro. So this, I guess, is like a pump.fun 2.0 where you can mint your own tokens and trade them on Ape Pro as well. And again, that'll drive more adoption, but be careful with meme coins. Also, Jupiter is buying a ton of stuff. They bought Solana FM, which is a cool place for information about tokens, and coinhole.org, which I never heard about till today. So that's it. And Jupiter Mobile will also allow Apple, Google, and credit card payments, an easy on-ramp for Sol all over the world. This is going to be very large. Again, we're seeing a big move away from traditional finance rails to complete crypto rails for the traditional finance world as well. Very big. And Shopify on Blinks is powered by HelioPay. And this is kind of like a customer retention, coupon retention use case, retargeting people that leave abandoned shopping carts and stuff. This is, I think, one of the ways in which Near Protocol has been so successful with caching. It's basically the majority of users on Near Protocol are using this coupon system. Now Shopify on Blinks powered by HelioPay could be a game changer and massive competitor to that too. Again, you're seeing the trend here, lots of financial capabilities all across the planet, tons of new features and everything else. Also, Sling Money, you'll be able to send stablecoins to 140 countries on Sol frictionlessly. So if you need to send a loved one who lives in another country some money, this is the way to do it. And Castfi, banking on Sol. I didn't quite get this. They had a gold credit card, and you can spend up to 60% on your card interest-free forever. I guess, I don't know what the limit is, but if you're holding a balance of 60% forever, that could be quite interesting. Anyway, I didn't dig too much into that, but they have a limited supply of 100 gold cards or something, solid gold. But anyway, just sharing the news. And Balaji was on too, and he's a very smart guy in the space. And he talked about a whole bunch of use case explorations, and he had one that I found very interesting, and that was to use NFTs as keys. So for example, if you have an Airbnb, you can mint as many unique NFTs as you want for users, and they can use that as a key to maybe open an Airbnb or open a car or open whatever in the future. And I thought that, and he had many other ideas too. By the way, if you have any great ideas, he said his issue is he's got lots of capital, but he's got no time. But if you have a good idea, reach out to him, sell him on your idea, he'll give you the capital, and your job is to execute. So I thought that was pretty cool too. Also, Bird Eye is up there. Bird Eye is a cool platform as well. I use it a lot to check out risks of certain tokens. They have 24 million retail users, 30 plus day and trading features, and they do 44 million daily API requests. Massively, heavily adopted. And the Bird Eye panel is a new feature they have as well. It's a new user interface, new panel, mobile, where you can showcase your expertise. You can drag and drop 20 plus components, and you can monitor what matters in the crypto market. Really slick interface. Check it out. Also, Solana even launched a first handheld gaming device for Web3 crypto gaming built on Solana. And yeah, for those who like to game, I think it's called PSG1. Sounds like Play Solana, or PlayStation, or whatever else. And a little bit of render news too as well. 60% of render supply is now already on Solana. 60%, it's come a long way. And the final piece of news, and it goes back to what I started off saying, the enterprise story. ETH is not the enterprise chain anymore. The leader is now Solana, according to Mr. Scaramucci, the Mooch. He said $7 billion a year is spent globally on transaction verification. Tokenization eliminates the need for third-party intermediaries and removes unnecessary friction from the system. The future is tokenized, and the future is on Solana, and Solana is leading in this space. Again, it's all about speed. It's all about throughput. It's how quickly and how frictionlessly you can process millions of transactions. Now this chain has the ability to do 1 million TPS across not one, but potentially 2 different validators, whether it's Agave or Frankendancer or the Firedancer that's still on testnet. We now have 2 that are live, capable of 1 million TPS just across 100 machines, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think the penny has dropped yet for what this means for the world. But now the question is building more dApps with more product market fit to drive more adoption. That's key. And when the big financial institutions come on board and start bringing their customers, that's how we get there. So I thought it was, so far, just day 1. I'll do this again for tomorrow. Day 2, a lot of stuff to pull through. Hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry about the voice. It wasn't working 2 hours ago, but it's back. And thank you all for coming. Sorry for being so late, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.